Let's look at some theories. This is what Laura Loomer said. They are directing their attention and anger towards a couple that I believe set up a GoFundMe for this guy before he did the shooting. Before committing Islamic jihad in our nation's capital yesterday, shooting 2 National Guardsmen, Rahmanullah Lakanwal, the Afghan Islamic terrorist, okay, who committed this act of Islamic terror, was staying at a home in a man named Stanley Cretin in Bellingham, Washington. The terrorist was staying there with his wife and 5 sons. I screen recorded this GoFundMe, which has now been deleted. The GoFundMe was last updated on January 30th, 2023. Oh my God. From January 30th, 2023. The description of the GoFundMe says, this is Dan and Val, and we were fundraising for an Afghan refugee family who stayed at our home 2 months before finding permanent rental housing in Bellingham. Rahmanullah and Kamila have 5 wonderful boys, ages 11 to 2. Before being evacuated to the U.S. on September 2021, Rahmanullah served for 11 years as a member of the Afghan Special Forces alongside U.S. service members fighting the Taliban. The GoFundMe was from 2021, and the last update for the GoFundMe was in 2023. And Laura Loomer is going after the people that thought that they were being helpful to a dude and his whole family. That's crazy. This is an opportunity for you to help a truly wonderful family. They left Afghanistan with nothing, and they need household and kitchen items of all kinds. Looks like the authorities need to go pay Stan and Val a visit to find out why they provided this jihadi and his family aid and comfort. Oh my God, she is so disgusting. There should be consequences for people in our country who provide safe haven to Islamic jihadists under suicidal empathy. The public, if you want to get angry at someone, you should get angry at the CIA, dumbass. The do you mean? God, what a gross psychopath. I can't even look at this dude. Lunatic. 2 weeks ago, General Flynn predicted on my show that elements of the CIA would activate Islamic sleeper cells in the United States in the coming months. Hell yeah. Alex Jones, give me some of that good
2 weeks ago, on my syndicated broadcast, General Flynn, the former head of the Defense Intelligence Agency, predicted that in the coming months, or even weeks, the deep state CIA elements, ally of the Democratic Party, with Communist China, Venezuela, and others, would begin triggering sleeper cells inside the United States, particularly Islamic. I'll post the interview below. He was on my broadcast yesterday and pointed out that all the evidence is clear. We've also had whistleblowers that have talked to Jesse Waters and others at Fox from inside the CIA, that this whole program with the seditious 6 and the script they admit they were given, Brennan's the handler, former head of the CIA, from my analysis. This whole operation they've been running of implying Trump's putting out illegal orders is ahead of major events to destabilize the United States with different paramilitary forces. And then when Trump tries to call it the military, the corporate media would already pre-planted the idea that his orders are illegal. This is sedition. This is the prep phase for a violent coup. And I've been predicting it along with General Flynn as well. This is a very, very serious time right now. And now we know, as you see below, this has been released by CIA Director Ratcliffe. Laura Logan has posted the information, and she's got incredible intel connections. I'll just leave it at that. That this guy was part of a CIA strike force, and that's what his ID says, in Afghanistan. And of course, her husband's been deployed over there for forever and was a leading commander. And it's
I just can't take him seriously, even if he has like moments of random clarity in all of the sea of bullshit Trump defense that he engages in. Because like, this is Alex Jones's like aha moment in his career, right? The deep state files have been outed with Jeffrey Epstein. And he's like, oh, it's just actually not that significant. Don't even worry about the Jeffrey Epstein stuff because I love Donald Trump and he would never actually kids. Like, how can you spend your entire conspiracy theory career talking about deep state files, working with Israel, working with the CIA, and then you have a deep state file who was an Israeli and American intelligence asset, only to turn around and be like, yeah, actually the entire thing that my career hinged on is true, and I can't even say it is because I love sucking Donald Trump's penis. It's awesome. It's awesome. Thank God, dude. Yeah, that's right. I love sucking ding dong. Trump's ding dong to begin with. I gobble it.
There's no video of President Trump sucking a ding dong. And so what if there was? That's a lot better than World War III, Owen. I never sucked any ding-dongs. But I'll tell you, if they were going to blackmail me to start World War III about one, I'd say, hey, I sucked a golf ball through a freaking garden hose.
That also, yeah, troops on the streets, he yelled Posse Comitatus constantly. Yeah, that's the other side. We got Palantir surveillance by a South African freak lizard person that even the normies look at and go, that's a lizard person. This guy's been saying lizard people are going to come and do mass surveillance at the behest of the deep state. And now they're doing it, but it's Trump doing it. So he has to be like, that's actually good. That's a good thing. Troops, National Guards troops being domestically sent to U.S. cities to do black bagging operations. Literally happening. Trump building his own Gestapo with ICE. Hundreds of billions of dollars being reallocated to Trump's very own secret police structure. Every single thing that this man has talked about is currently happening, but the guy doing it is his buddy. So he's just sitting there being like, no, actually, this is the ICE Gestapo comparison is actually quite anti-Semitic.
Also a very good source of information on that front. So this is a major message to Trump. This is a probe. This was just literally hundreds of feet away from the fence at the White House. And there's going to be more of this. So people better get ready. This is very, 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 very serious. Of course, Biden brought hundreds of thousands of these people into the country. And they need to be deported. The media trying to spin it now.
Oh, that's dude, yeah, it's a black flag operation. It's a false flag operation. But also, even though I'm recognizing that it's a false flag operation, I personally believe that we should actually follow the ambitions of the federal government doing the false flag operation.
Now, because the Trump administration approved one level of his asylum last year. But that's just because that's part of the larger process.
Okay. So Trump didn't do the false flag. It's someone else in the deep state trying to ruin Donald Trump. Makes sense. Yeah. And Trump was duped into the Trump administration was actually duped by the deep state files, not Jeffrey Epstein, though.
That Biden set up. And now those policies need to be reversed.
Yeah. How deep does the state go, man?
And they need to go in and kick out all of these paramilitary Afghans, even if they, quote, work for the CIA. But this guy clearly is working for these very elements. Remember, John Brennan is a Muslim and a communist. He brags about it. People always are blown away by that. I mean, look it up. He brags about it in Arabic. And they're working with these different terror networks. And they use them as a covert army. And
John Brennan is a Muslim and a communist. That's awesome. I need to see what he means by this, because sometimes there's like, it's this. CIA Director John Brennan proudly acknowledges that he once voted for the communist candidate for president. That's got to be a trot, right? He has to be a trot, right? I suspect, because like he goes from voting and being a part of the communist movement during the Cold War to being the director of the CIA. That's trot behavior, the trot to neocon pipeline, you know? It has to be. I don't know how he I don't know where the Muslim thing comes from.
They're gearing up the drug cartels and others to wreak havoc in this nation. General Flynn didn't just predict that. He has sources that give him the chatter and the information that's being picked up, and I'm getting that from other law enforcement intelligence sources as well. So I'm very, very sad for the two National Guard soldiers that were shot. You know, the governor of West Virginia came out where they were deployed from and said they were dead. And now there's conflicting reports. We'll just continue to watch.
Not all trots, chatters.
Everybody's put their head on a swivel. And we don't need to give into this intimidation. The left wants the troops off the streets because they want the crown to be high.
But like come on, dude. I mean, don't get mad at me, but like, are we serious about like? It's always funny when people get mad at that shit. But the official Frank Wuko also elevated far-right conspiracy theories, including that Obama was not born in the U.S., John Brennan converted to Islam, Eric Holder belonged to the Black Panthers, and Huma Abedin has ties to the Muslim Brotherhood. What the fuck? A Trump official who suggested dropping nuclear bombs on Afghanistan is now responsible for arms control issues at the State Department. Remember the guy who recently died, Horowitz? He was a trot too. He had a different evolution. And in the nicest assessment possible, Western capitalist ideologues absolutely utilized a lot of his later work in designing some of the most successful anti-communist propaganda that was implemented during the Cold War. And also, there are a lot of people that started as trots that became neocons in America, like a lot. Anyway, Fox News on Thanksgiving is talking about Charlie Kirk and his message of gratitude. You know, so if you're having a hard time having a robust Thanksgiving meal this Thanksgiving, at least you can eat some gratitude.
Well, I mean, look at the situation in Chicago, where the governor, Pritzker, is fighting President Trump with everything that Pritzker has to try to keep President Trump from ending the murder epidemic in Chicago. Pritzker and Johnson are fighting on behalf of the murderers, not on behalf of the citizens, fighting against the National Guard, fighting against law enforcement, and fighting against federal investigators and every step of the way. Let me begin by saying to the beginning of your question that the president's remarks, I think, were among the most moving that I've ever heard. It was perfect for this incredibly tragic occasion, this heartbreaking, anguishing tragedy right before Thanksgiving. I think he spoke movingly and beautifully to what we've lost, but also demonstrated the tremendous resolve and determination to not only continue the mission these soldiers died for, but to expand the mission, declaring that far from being deterred, the commander-in-chief, our president, is sending 500 more troops to the city to show that no terrorism will sway us. And also having a conversation tonight with America, the conversation that we have to have with President Trump saying that Joe Biden, the Biden administration, the Democrats have inflicted on this nation the worst national security threat in our history. We've never faced a threat like this. 20 million people brought into our country from the most failed societies on earth. Afghanistan, Somalia, Libya, Iraq, brought here. No vetting, no conditions, no rules. Brought here on visas, brought here on...
Yeah, except everything you just said is wrong. Why did they fail? We failed them. We caused them to fail. And also, this guy was vetted. They're just lying. I don't know how else to explain it other than he's just lying.
As refugees.
Yeah, Islam failed them. Totally, dude. You're so right. You are the exact kind of dumbass that this freak-ass Nazi is talking to, okay? You're already tuned into that goddamn frequency. Yeah, totally, dude. It's Islam that failed them. Oh, God. Billions of Muslims worldwide. You are the real barbarian. I hope you understand that. This kind of moronic attitude that justifies all of the death and destruction that America engages in so that some faceless, lifeless corporate stooge can turn profit is infinitely more barbaric than anything that you consider to be lesser than you. You need to wake the fuck up, dude.
Brought here as asylees, brought here as illegals, brought here in every way imaginable, by plane, train, bus, automobile, by land, by sea. For 4 straight years, they deluged this country. And now more blood is being spilled as a result. What you heard tonight from President Trump, the breaking news here tonight, is saying that his government is going to accelerate efforts to review every person added to this country over the last 20 years.
He said, Muhammad Jihad Durka. Brother's hitting 2003 lines right now. That's awesome. He's not wrong on the immigration part, though. What the are you talking about, dude? What the are you talking about? This guy is our guy. Once again, there is very little daylight between what this guy did and what, like, the 17 other veterans that either burned a church down or engaged in mass shootings or did like a police assisted suicide in the last 8 months. You're an idiot. Name a single other mass shooting. Yeah, Americans famously never commit mass shootings. Oh, people are so dumb. Well, if you think about it, being racist on Thanksgiving is the OG kind of way to celebrate. Okay, true. That is actually in the spirit of Thanksgiving when you really think about it.
4 years, all 20 million. Now, obviously, if you're illegal, you're out automatically. But everybody else who was brought here, refugee, asylum status, whatever status.
I see all of this as like a coping mechanism. As conditions worsen and people are forced to see the contradictions, I think they just cope with it by being like, no, it's because they're this one. Well, this guy's Muslim. This guy's an immigrant. That's why. Yeah. Don't look at like the 7 million different instances of this happening in the hands of like Americans in the identical fashion, you know? No. This is, well, we got to fix the migrant crisis. That's what it is. I don't know, man. Maybe we shouldn't be shipping 18-year-olds overseas so they can guard poppy fields so that the Pentagon can have his own drug running operation where they make money off of selling heroin to the European markets. And then in the process of shipping them over there, they get their brains broken. And then they come back and we don't even give them like the adequate medical care that they need. And then they feel some type of way. And also they have unlimited access to weapons. And some of them choose to take matters in their own hands and kill themselves individually. Others do it by way of suicide by cop. Some of them do it with, some of them do it like this. None of this has to happen, by the way. None of it.
He said, if you're not someone who loves this country, if you're not adding benefit to this country, then we're going to send you out of this country because it's enough already. No one else has to die. No one else has to be murdered. No one else has to be shot. No more empty seats are needed at the Thanksgiving table or the Christmas table because of what Democrats have done to this country. So tonight we heard from a commander-in-chief a historic announcement, a brave announcement, exactly what America needed to hear, Kellyanne.
Absolutely. Stephen Miller, and you've amplified.
How come we don't talk about guns anymore?
Tonight.
I do all the time. It's just not even an issue for so many people. It's just not, it's a given.
The National Guard, and then they dehumanize the guardsmen and guardswomen. And it should surprise no one, yet shock us and sadden us all the same what happened today. Stephen, that's also a president I know influenced by you and others as well, who is helping to lead the nation in prayer. And he's praying for those victims. He's praying for their families. He's praying for the other brave men and women in all types of uniform who wake up every morning and run toward the danger to protect our freedoms and our lives. Stephen Miller, thank you very much. God bless Katie and you and the family for Thanksgiving. Appreciate it.
Thank
Stephen
you.
Miller,
God bless.
White House Deputy Chief of Staff.
Trump. God bless America.
Yes.
God bless America. Prayer should help them with their bills. Yeah, you don't understand. A lot of Americans are praying to make their Thanksgiving meals more affordable today. That's the other side of the story, too. Totally working. You were right. A lot of people on X are speculating it's a false flag operation. Of course they are, dude. Our brains are fried. Everything sucks. People want answers. This seems like a neat little bow